All right, welcome back to the show. You know, I found a statistic recently that just crushed me. It was that more than half of Americans feel lonely at a time when we're supposed to be more connected than ever. A survey of 20,000 adults found 54% feel no one knows them well, and 40% lack companionship. Apparently, younger Americans are feeling it the most. The question is, why? Well, one woman believes she may have the answer, and that idea is starting to catch on here in the Pacific Northwest. It's about changing our conversations, or rather, deepening them.
Pick a table, mingle about, yeah, and then we'll get started in like 2 minutes.
It's around dinner time in Seattle's South Lake Union, and people aren't coming here to eat, drink, or even party.
What is the time when you didn't fit in, and how did you feel?
They're here for a conversation.
If I'm not feeling okay, hey, I'm struggling with something.
A meaningful conversation.
This started because like my whole life I've really not loved small talk. I'm not very good at it. You know, who's talked about the weather today and how rainy it is?
How do we know when we're engaging in small talk? What's that look like?
When you're super bored, when you're feeling like the conversation's just boring.
And that's why we can leave a party and still feel lonely.
Yeah, or we can know someone our whole life and feel like we don't actually know them that well.
So how did an aversion to small talk turn into a business? Well, it was a 50-day wilderness trip, 3 of those days alone, and time spent with quotes she loved to collect.
I had like this huge stack of quotes, and I got this idea to write a question on the back of each of them. And I just sat there like for 3 days under this little tarp in the pouring rain and wrote a question on the back of each.
But the courage to follow through only came when she herself felt what so many people feel too often.
I would feel really lonely in those days. Like I had friends and I was on a soccer team and I'd like go out to bars with people, but I just wasn't feeling connected. I had this box and I decided I was gonna put out on a website where you can basically have events. I said, let's get together for meaningful conversations at this like local brewery. And we ended up staying for 3 hours.
What?
And it was like total strangers. We talked about masculinity, vulnerability, like what it meant to have a fulfilling job. And I just walked away and I was like, wow, I'm so connected and I felt like filled up.
It's very grown up.
And since that first meeting, she's had 40 events.
We don't get a lot of space to share stuff that like feels like us.
I think that's very important, you know.
And for an hour and a half in South Lake Union, people found that space.
We don't give other people enough credit sometimes. Like,
I've been through so much darkness.
And then if I cry, it's okay.
right.
Sometimes people are not very clear in their intentions and their feelings.
More and more events like this need to happen, and more people need to come out and share their stories. And storytelling is important.
This like really gives you this safe space, this safe place where you can kind of be a little bit vulnerable and know that people are not going to be kind of judge you for that. It makes you feel happy. It makes you you feel a little light, a little bit lighter. Even though the subjects are kind of heavy, you kind of approach it in a very light feel again because it's like almost like a board game kind of. So you just feel like you just had some genuine like connection with somebody.
So perhaps this concept is happy hour redefined, and the high a bit more fulfilling. All right, in just a few minutes, we're going to actually take you through how you can have a meaningful conversation, step by step.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
That's
it'll be fun.
beautiful. I think she is so insightful.
Yes, and so often we think, oh, the young people, they're into this, and it's like, no, there are different types of people out there, and she's pretty inspiring.